The question is, should a man ever move into a woman's home with her? In other words, if she has her own place, her own apartment, her own house, and she bids him to come live with her, and they have a romantic relationship, is it wise for a man to move into his woman's home with her girlfriend, other half? I'll say this: if they are married already and they move into a home together, or if they have gotten married and she already has a house, maybe. Conversely, the truth is still the same. If he has his own place, she can move in with him. Of course, it's obvious. They're now united. They're married. But generally speaking, if a woman has her own place and her and the man are dating and she asks him to move in and they're not married, I would say no. Unless you're going to, as the old cliche goes, tie the knot. You see, the reason is very obvious. If you disagree, the two of you that is, somewhere along the line in that relationship, she can tell you to get out. And chances are, if the disagreement is strong enough, she will demand that you get out. And guess what? You will get out. You shall get out, because the law is going to support her. It's going to back her up. And you know, in Western society, that's pretty much the way it is. The woman is going to win. I say this from experience, not just simply from practicality and wisdom. I've been there, done that, as they say. You know, my situation was not a matter of me not being supportive and or a provider within that relationship. It had everything to do with the woman whose home I moved into, who I cared about, for the record. But it was a condition that was broken, and I addressed it. You see, I believe in keeping your word, and I believe in your word being your bond, and I believe that if you're in a relationship, you must be honest with one another. This young lady, and by the way, I hold no animosity towards this young lady today, and I never did. But this young lady at the time told me that she was dealing with a habit of drugs, or a certain drug at the time. And she knew that that was not something that I was going to be a part of. She knew who I was and what type of individual I was. And I maintain that today, to this very day. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs. She knew that in the very beginning, but she liked me a lot, maybe even loved. But she kept that hidden because she really didn't stop doing her drug, her social and or recreational drug. And she told me that she stopped. She told me once upon a time she was dealing with some stresses in her life, and she would use that particular drug to calm her down, calm her nerves, and it helped. She said, but I don't do that anymore. Now, once she made that statement, I took it for what she said. I took her word because I believe in you keeping your word. But she lied. So as our relationship went on, and it wasn't years and years, and it's not necessarily to tell you how long it actually was, but it was long enough for me to be in a relationship with her to find out that she had been doing it behind my back, thinking that I would never find out. But she left evidence, and on a couple of occasions I caught her coming home, her home, a little early, unexpected, and she was indulging. She tried to hide it. She apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, this happened at the job today. Okay, kind of brushed it off. All right. Time went on. Don't recall exactly how much time went on, but I never did forget that incident. But there was another time, after finding some evidence of her doing it along the way, but there was another time I caught her and I brought it to her attention. But instead of her just owning up to it and apologizing, she got angry and told me to get out of her home. Yes, she did. When she told me to get out of her home, that made me feel a certain way. I felt vulnerable. I left my home to move in with her because I thought that we were going to have a future together. I actually left my home, guys, and I moved into her home. And because I brought up an issue that she was sensitive to, even though she lied to me and told me that she didn't do it anymore, I was justified in bringing it to her attention. So her only defense was get out, because she was caught again in the act, so to speak. And once she said that, when she made that statement, get out, in my mind, it just turned me. Let's go. It was not, if she apologizes to you, Reginald, just forget about it and just go on. No. I decided that moment that I am going to get out. But you know what? She didn't realize what she had said. She just felt cornered, so to speak. And she said, I'm sorry. And she wanted to try to apologize to me when she saw me starting to get my things together and move. She didn't know how to say, stay and come back, but she attempted to, but it was too late, because that was a mark, an indelible mark she left on my heart. Something that I was not going to go back to was that relationship. She pushed the button. There's no returning to this, because number one, you violated my trust. You told me something. And you said that you didn't do it anymore and that you were not going to do it, supposedly respecting my wishes, knowing that that's not something that I partook in. And you found out that I knew you was doing it behind my back. You had lied to me. I can't stand when a person lies to me and steals from me. Those two things. And as a footnote, God doesn't care about people who steal and lie as well. That's why it's in the commandments, his commandments. But anyway, this is me I'm speaking of. So once I began to move and get my things, and I put my things in my vehicle, and I left. She tried to call me and text me. It was too late. So what I'm saying to you today, men, it's not wise that you move in with a woman because she holds that over you, that place, that home being hers. And because of her being, in most instances, very much of an emotional creature.
Operation has been completed.
Excuse that. That was my computer. That was a project that I was working on. But anyway, because of her being an emotional creature, for the most part, more so than a man, she's going to oftentimes go off when she feels a little bit of stress and pressure. It is what it is. But anyway, as I said earlier, I hold no animosity towards that person this day. But that was another lesson learned. And I would never, ever in my lifetime, and I'm too old for it now, move in with a woman. Never, ever. Never, ever. Now, I did forestate that if you were getting married, or if you were married, that's a different situation. But just to shack up, as the old expression goes, because you are romantically involved, and I don't believe in that either. I believe that if you are romantically involved with someone, just go ahead and marry them. Make it simple. Stop playing house, guys and gals for that matter. But make sure that you know one another very well before you venture off into that thing called marriage. But I advise you guys, never ever move in to a woman's house to avoid being put out. And on the flip side of that, conversely, most men won't put a woman out. If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and a woman might rub them the wrong way, or they might have disagreements, and you're supposed to in relationships, that's called life. Don't put the woman out. But as I said again, and I reiterate, make sure you know one another well enough before you ever enter into a relationship, into a home together. That was it. And that was all. Share your experience if you had one, a similar one.